You are listening to the Happy, Healthy, Hot Mom Summit, where you will discover how to be fit, sexy, and energized, even if you are a busy mom. With your host, top female fat loss and hormone specialist, Dr. Michelle Sands.
Hi, welcome back to the Happy, Healthy, Hot Mom Summit. I'm your host, Dr. Michelle Sands, and today we have Kristen Boucher. She's a busy mama, a registered nurse, a health coach, and she helps women who desperately want to feel comfortable in their own skin. I love Kristen because she's so insightful and she's so inspiring to moms like me. She tells us just like it is, and she helps us reboot our bodies and our lives. So Kristen, I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me, Michelle. I'm really excited to be here.
Awesome. Kristen's a fellow yoga aficionado, and she also loves wine and chocolate like I do. So that's kind of why we bonded.
If you don't love wine and chocolate, then there's no place for you.
Exactly. So Kristen, today we are actually talking about a topic that I get asked about probably every day. And my clients and my friends always want to know, like, how are these women out there? How are they eating Big Macs and how are they eating all this food and they're not fat? Like, how are these people not going to the gym all day? How are they eating whatever they want and still staying thin? So you're going to talk about the secret to eating more and weighing less.
Yes, I am. And I'm so excited to share this. This is kind of how my epiphany after years of trial and correction and trying to figure things out with my own weight loss journey. So today, a lot of us, we just want to lose weight and feel comfortable in our own skin. We diet, we count calories, we exercise a ton, and we tend to see initial losses up front, and that, makes us really excited.
Right.
But somehow the weight always returns, and we end up right back to where we started. So our dreams of fitting back into those skinny clothes that are hiding in the back of our closet is just a fantasy amidst all the other things that are vying for our attention, our kids, our careers, all the other things that are happening in our lives. But despite the struggle, there are some women, like you had said, Michelle, that still manage to lose weight or maintain their weight, eat whatever they want, whenever they want, and they can kick their nagging food addictions. Now, as I mentioned, in my younger years, I wanted to lose weight. I wanted to keep it off, but I didn't want to deprive myself of delicious food.
Yeah.
So when I started making progress, I would lose weight, and then I'd re-enter, my real life, and the weight would come back, and I'd find myself in that, that haze of energy drain, cravings, and brain fog. And it was exhausting, and frankly, it was no fun.
Mm-hmm.
And it was only later in my journey that I realized I was just doing it all wrong. I was following, the weight loss myths that had been ingrained in my subconscious for so many years. Banning ingredients in my diet wasn't enough. And no matter how much I exercised, nothing stayed permanent. And all because there was one key thing that was missing. And when I started to talk to people, which later became my clients, I found out that I wasn't alone in the struggle. And later on in my journey, I met Renee, who became a friend of mine. She's a busy 30-something mom. She's got 2 boys. She lives in Western Massachusetts. And similar to me, she tried everything. She tried eating healthy. She was exercising faithfully and basically doing everything that she was supposed to do, but she wasn't seeing any changes. She still had a killer sweet tooth and that, midday energy slump that a lot of us have. She was having that, and those extra pounds just would not budge despite her best intentions. So, of course, Renee was frustrated. She was confused, and she just lacked the confidence that she needed. So what I learned later was that these problems were not impossible to solve for Renee or for me. And we weren't destined to be like this because of our genetics. And while we were both busy moms living busy lives, that wasn't holding us back. In fact, today things look much different for both of us. Today, I'm 25 pounds less than I was in my early 20s. I've been able to keep it off despite having 2 children, getting older, and my routine getting hijacked by the little people in my life almost on a daily basis. Everyone out there listening can relate to that.
Well, my son, I always call him an improv artist because
exactly.
You never know. Everything's new. But it's the beauty, it's the blessing and the curse of motherhood, right? Every day is exciting, but then every day is new and exciting.
Very true. You go into your day thinking, oh, this is what's going to happen, and it's the complete opposite. Exactly. And you just hold it. I think it makes you a better person and a better mom,
it does.
to be honest with you. So now, despite all of these things, all of these competing priorities, I don't count calories, I don't measure fat grams, and I don't obsess over my weight or my workout routine. And Renee her life looks totally different today too. She doesn't work out more. She doesn't count or measure her food, and her energy is through the roof. In fact, her greatest victory was kicking her lifelong sugar addiction, which was amazing.
That's huge. That's huge for so many of us women. And I love that you are talking about not being obsessive over your diet and not counting calories and not, weighing all your food or being obsessive about your workout, because that's how I feel as well. That makes life like kind of suck. That makes life not fun, right?
Huge pain in the ass. We don't need that. We've got enough stuff that we need to deal with. Never mind counting all that and measuring that. And then obstressing. I love to obstress. That's my favorite term, is obstress.
Obstress, exactly.
The combination of obsessing and stressing out. Who needs that? We've got enough stuff that we're dealing with.
Totally. So I'm wondering, how did you guys accomplish this? How did these things happen for you?
Well, here's the thing. Most people think that they need to fight their sugar cravings. They just go to war and they keep trying harder. Now, the secret is that you don't have to fight your sugar cravings. With the right strategy and eating the right combination of foods, you're able to completely get rid of them. So in fact, I've learned if you play your cards right, it's easier to lose weight by rebooting your metabolism so you can eat the same amount or even more of the right foods and weigh less.
Oh, that's awesome. So we're going to talk more about that later, how to eat more and weigh less. Love that. But before we get to that, you mentioned some weight loss myths that you used to believe. What were some of those?
Well, there are so many ways that you can go wrong when you start to figure out how to lose weight and basically get in the best shape of your life. And there's plenty of experts out there telling you what you want to hear instead of what actually works. Now, in my personal experience, there are 3 big myths that I see so many people fall victim to, and I want to just help people avoid them. Now, the first one I already kind of mentioned is calorie counting. Calorie counting works. That's myth number 1. And this one's a doozy. It's been around for ages, and calorie counting alone tells you diddly squat about how your body's going to react to certain foods. It's really about quality, not quantity. Now, this is why weight loss, as you know, Michelle, is not as simple as a strategic formula of just calories in and calories out, and why so many of us struggle to lose weight and eventually keep it off. Now, just adding insult to injury, counting calories, like we talked about, it's a big pain in the ass, and it's a source of stress for many. Too much stress will cause an overproduction of those hormones, cortisol and adrenaline, which can kill your metabolism and trigger your body to burn proteins instead of fat, which results in muscle loss instead of fat loss, which is what we desire. So don't get me wrong, calorie counting does work initially, but once your body realizes what's happening, it panics, it shuts down your fat burning furnace and begins to hold on to fat for dear life. Now, this happened to me many, many times. I'd go on a diet, I'd cut way back on my calories, I'd drop a few pounds, be super stoked, and then I'd gain it right back, even though I was restricting calories still. Mm-hmm. So I was, not only was I hangry, that nasty combination of hungry and angry, because I wasn't eating enough, but my metabolism came to a screeching halt. So once I realized that obsessively counting calories wasn't working and would never work, I broke through and found a weight loss solution that just didn't get me short-term results. But we'll talk more about that in a little bit.
Awesome. Yeah, I really love that you're talking about counting calories and the stress it puts on the body. I mean, it's not only stressful mentally, but when you do count those calories and restrict calories, you're actually, the weight you lose sometimes is muscle, and so if you're losing muscle and on a really strict diet, and then you get bored, you get tired of it, you can't handle it anymore, so you go back to your regular eating, a lot of times you'll gain fat. So now you're lost muscle and gained fat. You may be the same weight that you were before you did the diet, but now your metabolism is slower. So it's really a vicious cycle of ruining your body composition and your mental, sanity.
Exactly.
I love the way you put that. So, okay, so that's one myth. Calorie counting does not work. So that's, the myth of calorie counting is, let's blow that out of the water. So we're not going to do that. So what's your second myth? What's the second one?
So the second myth that I ran into was fat makes you fat. Now, this was the pinnacle in the 80s and 90s when low-fat, fat-free, and completely tasteless food was mainstream. Fat was replaced by chemicals, sugar, and salt, and look where that got us. Eating way too much nutrient-poor, calorie-dense food because we were never satisfied. Now, remember back in the day, Snackwell's cookies. I don't even know if they
Oh
make
God, I used to
them
eat those
anymore.
by the box when I
Me
was a
too.
personal
That was
trainer.
my thing. That was my jam. And fat-free frozen yogurt. Remember all those frozen yogurt places that popped up all over the place, or gummy bears or Swedish fish, all fat-free, loaded with sugar and chemicals, and quite honestly, the perfect storm for weight gain. Now, these are all staples in my younger days. I remember going through high school and, college, that's what I ate. And, what did I have to show for it? A nice spare tire settled around my midsection, which was not a good look. So here is the science behind it. I'm going to geek out for just a minute to kind of explain where this goes. So fat fills you up and it leaves you feeling satisfied. So this is the feeling that allows us to skip dessert or that extra helping of lasagna that mom made. And when you eat fat as part of your meal, it slows down the food absorption so that you can go longer without feeling hungry. However, I got to say this, the caveat is it's about eating the right fats at the right time in the right way that makes this phenomenon so powerful.
That is very powerful. I mean, I remember back in the 90s, I was a personal trainer and I'd studied traditional nutrition under like the FDA standards. And I was all about the low fat. I told my clients to do low fat. I was like low fat queen. Everything was fat free. And it worked for the beginning, but then myself and all my clients started gaining weight. So I just thought that they were cheating. I'd be like,
yes,
you must not really be eating the no fat, because it's not any of our faults. It's actually what we were taught.
Right.
That's what we learned. But it's so true that like eating, but now I know myself, I still have to like coach myself into eating those healthy fats, because I have that ingrained in the back of my mind, and I still have to work with my clients every day to let them understand that fat will not make them fat. I actually try to call the fat on your body adipose tissue, and I don't try to refer to it as fat because I don't want that to be the same word. It's like dietary fat and adipose tissue are not the same thing. However, you're very right about eating the right fat.
So true. I had the same problem when I first embraced this lifestyle. I couldn't bring myself to buy the full fat anything. And it took me a good 6 months to really just say, okay, I'm going to do this. And so glad I did.
But once you do it, you do realize, like you said, you're so much more satisfied. You're not hungry to keep snacking. A lot of times with those low-fat things, you just want to keep going on them.
Exactly. That's why those boxes of Snackwell's cookies got polished off every time.
Okay, so we know now counting calories is not going to work. We're not going to try to avoid everything with fat in it. We're not trying to do all the low-fat foods. And then we have one more myth that you're going to talk about. So what's that?
So myth number 3, this one was, if I work out, I don't need to worry about what I eat. Now, this is a classic misconception that putting in hours at the gym entitles us to eat whatever we want. So it sounds like a perfect strategy to have your cake and literally eat it too. But the harsh reality is that you can easily out-eat your exercise efforts. Now, don't get me wrong. The occasional indulgence is fine. We are human after all. I do partake in those indulgences. And it's critical to exercise regularly and eat a diet that's filled with whole, fresh, unprocessed foods for successful long-term weight loss. And more importantly, good health. Now, I experienced this full firsthand back in my, my days for my quest for a better physique, story time again, to avoid that inevitable holiday weight gain extravaganza that we just kind of came out of. Every year, right around Thanksgiving, I'd kick up my cardio routine a notch. I'd spend up to an hour a day, 1 full hour on the elliptical. I was completely insane. I figured, this was the mindset, I figured I'd be able to work off any extra calories that I'd be consuming in the month of December and have a chance to, catch up on Seinfeld episodes. It was like, hello. And you know what? It worked. It initially worked. But then the other shoe dropped and my body recalibrated and my metabolism became desensitized to that extra overactivity that I was doing. And as soon as I scaled back to a normal workout routine after the holidays kind of settled, I started to gain a little bit of weight. So in essence, I had to either continue working out at the level that I had during the holiday eating season or revert back to myth number 1, calorie counting, to maintain my weight. And it was a vicious cycle that left me drained, cranky, and super uncomfortable in my own skin. Now, the good news is that those listening do not have to spend countless hours at the gym or on the treadmill. Instead, you can eat more and weigh less simply by eating the right combination of delicious foods that reboot your metabolism without deprivation. So you'll be able to eat whatever you want, whenever you want, and still lose weight, boost your energy, kick your sugar cravings, sleep better, improve digestion, be happier, and eliminate that brain fog, also known as mom brain.
Wow, that's awesome. I totally agree with the fact that you can't out-train a bad diet. I always tell that to my clients.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact you can just get proof if you go to any of the big box gyms and you go there for a month, you'll see the same people on the cardio equipment, on the ellipticals, on the treadmills that they stay on there for an hour, and you'll see their bodies do not change.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
it's so true. You can go view it for yourself so you don't have to put yourself through it. But
Mm-hmm.
you are so on track with everything I believe in. So you're saying that we don't have to count calories. We don't have to do an hour on the elliptical per day. We don't have to exercise like crazy. And we don't have to avoid fat. So that sounds awesome. And you're saying if we do all these things, we can have good energy, no sugar cravings, better sleep, better digestion, and be happy and fit in our skinny jeans. So that sounds way too good to be true. I know the audience is like, yeah, right.
Right.
So
Next.
So if we do this, if we do it your way, does that mean we have to give up everything that we love to eat and start eating all these weird, crazy foods that we have to buy at special stores?
Oh, I hear this all the time. And actually, this is why I have personally used this method for years in my everyday life before I even released it or mentioned it to the public. I wanted to make sure that if it works for me, and I can eat well and still not feel any deprivation, and it works for others. So since that time, back in the day, over 500 busy women have successfully used my system to give their bodies and metabolism a reboot. I regularly get messages from women, young moms, older moms, non-moms, busy, single professionals, empty nesters, even dudes that are telling me how they can't believe how great they feel by doing something so simple. So it's really, really quite easy and takes just a bit of planning and preparation to implement and to get you on your way to feeling amazing again in just as little as 7 days. So drum roll, please. I call it Kick Sugar Now. And thanks to the super simple technique, in less than a week, I can give my body an easy and gentle kickstart that leaves me feeling a few pounds lighter and like I can conquer the world.
Oh, awesome. Sugar is always a huge topic and like the bane of everybody's healthy eating plan. So I love that you're talking about sugar, but what made you focus on that for weight loss?
Well, before I get too far ahead of myself, because I really get excited about this, I want to back up for a minute. If you're among the vast majority of the people that are listening out there, people who have a serious sweet tooth, you are in really good company. Now, the nature of food addiction, more specifically sugar addiction, has been studied and shown to be extremely common and as intense as addictions to opiates like cocaine and heroin. It's pretty serious stuff. Now, part of the reason that it's so hard to kick the habit is that over time, our brains actually become addicted to the natural opioids that are triggered by sugar consumption. And like with drugs, a diet loaded with sugar can generate excessive reward signals in the brain, which can override self-control and lead to addiction. Now, in fact, researchers at Princeton University report that sugar-loving mice demonstrate all three criteria of addiction: increased intake, withdrawal, and cravings that lead to relapse, which is so crazy.
Exactly. That's exactly why it's so hard to kick that sugar. So how do you go about breaking that?
Well, the good news is that it is completely possible, and I'm going to share with all the listeners today my secrets for doing just that. Now, in my early days, I'd reach for sugar throughout the day just because, after meals, in between meals, and everywhere in between. And then when I finally came to the realization of how horrible it made me feel, and look, let's be honest, I knew I had to do something to rein in this addiction, so I would be in control of my sugar cravings and not the other way around. So I did what any typical self-help junkie does. I buckled down, did lots of reading, and of course I asked Dr. Google for help. And here's what I found. I found a lot of information, and I was overwhelmed and, truth be told, deflated at the possibility that I'd never kick my sugar cravings. And I began to wade through the information little by little, trying one thing after another, and some techniques worked great and others not so much. Long story short, after oodles of trial and correction, I cracked the code to kicking my sugar addiction, and I was so excited to share it with the world. Now, Kick Sugar Now is a super easy technique that I created to kick sugar addiction. In less than a week, this method gives my body a gentle kickstart, leaves me more focused, a few pounds lighter, and truly feeling like a superwoman.
That is awesome. So when you say feeling like a superwoman, what kind of results are you seeing?
Well, using the concepts that I had learned and experienced in weight loss and cleanse programs, I incorporated the things that made me kick my sugar addiction and lose weight in the process and feel amazing. And I left out the ones that made me completely miserable. Now, once I discovered this, I decided I have to know if this only works for me or if I have to come up with something that can potentially work for hundreds of other women or thousands of other people. So I packaged this technique, the Kick Sugar Now technique, to kick sugar addiction in an easy-to-follow format, and I had some people test it out. And you know what? It worked beyond my wildest dreams.
So what kind of results do you see from yourself and your clients?
Well, my friend Patty, she kicks sugar now, and she lost 8 pounds and 9 inches. She started sleeping better, and she noticed a huge improvement in her mental clarity and focus. And then within the very first day, my friend Kitty, she felt lighter, and over the next 3 weeks, she continued this and lost 8 pounds, gained more energy, and her love of life completely rebounded, which is, huge. Kicking sugar makes our mental status so much better. And then my friend Jen ditched her lifelong addiction to sugar. She felt leaner. She became incredibly productive. She started sleeping better, and she learned how to successfully navigate her emotional eating. Now, these women learned that the key to melting fat, kicking cravings, and boosting their energy was simply ditching sugar for a period of time, which was robbing them of their energy and the vitality. So once they discovered how great this simple technique made them feel, they wanted to go deeper and give their lifestyle and their metabolism a complete reboot. So kicking sugar was their first step to making that a reality.
Okay, so this sounds absolutely amazing. I know everybody's wondering, how can we do this ourselves? How can we stop eating all the foods that we love and just kick this vicious cycle?
So it's really, believe it or not, it's really quite easy. And like I said, it takes just a little bit of planning and preparation to implement to get you feeling amazing again in less than a week. You'll feel lighter, you'll feel leaner, less foggy, more in control of your cravings and your life. Now, it worked for me. It's worked for hundreds of other busy women, and it can work for everyone listening out there today, too.
Awesome. So let's talk specifically about Kick Sugar Now, that method. How do you do it?
Okay, so Kick Sugar Now is a free 7-day challenge that provides you with a roadmap and lots of support to kick your annoying sugar cravings in less than a week. So you're using 5 simple techniques that you'll be able to regain control of your life so you're not raiding the freezer for that pint of Ben & Jerry's after the kids go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
Now with the free challenge comes a quick start guide that details out each of the 5 techniques, a printable list of easy and healthy snacks to reach for when a craving hits, a printable chart to track your progress and success, and access to a private community of sugar addicts to cheer you on as you conquer your cravings. And last, daily love, support, and tips from me over the course of the challenge. Now, the free quick start guide is available at my website, and access to the challenge is available at my website, which is www.mixwellness.com/kicksugarnow.
Awesome. I actually have a link to that below this video and also on the email you guys received this morning, so you don't have to worry about writing that down. And I have one more question. So can you tell me a little more about the techniques that you use in Kick Sugar Now? Like exactly how easy are we talking here?
Absolutely. I want to share with you one of my favorite and easiest Kick Sugar Now techniques that you can do anytime, anywhere. Now, one of these techniques, I call it the Mix Lucky 7 breathing exercise. Now, as you know, Michelle, breath work is linked to so many health benefits: less stress, improved mood, more energy, a stronger immune system, among so many other mental and physical benefits. Now, breath work can also squash sugar cravings in seconds flat. Now, when you're feeling a sugar craving come on, this simple breathing exercise can be done sitting at your desk, in the car, or anywhere else. So here's how you're going to do it. And again, this is in the quick start guide. So if those of you guys listening, if you download it, this is all in there along with 4 other techniques. So the mixed Lucky 7 breathing exercise, first you're going to exhale deeply with a deep sigh in order to reset your diaphragm. Then you're going to breathe slowly through your nose for a count of 7. You're going to hold your breath for a count of 7. And then for another count of 7, you're going to exhale through your nose. And you're going to repeat this 3 times. So 7, 7, 7. Do it 3 times. You will feel super refreshed and, completely energized, and ideally your sugar craving will be gone. And more than likely, if it hasn't, and you're still having a craving, you're likely truly hungry. So my advice is to eat, of course. Now, again, the free quick start guide has a list of my 20 favorite craving busting snacks that will not send you into a tailspin. So if after doing this breathing exercise, you're still hungry, have a healthy snack, and you will have derailed any sugar cravings right then and there. So I want to invite everyone that's listening to download the free Quick Start Guide so they can learn the remaining 4 Kick Sugar Now techniques. And of course, join the private Facebook community. Again, it's all free, so you've got nothing to lose but the annoying cravings. And of course, I invite you to recruit your friends as well, because as everyone's experienced, I'm sure, in any type of self-help or self-improvement journey, when you do things with friends, it's a lot more fun and you have greater accountability because you're doing it at the same time.
I totally agree. And that's so awesome. And I could actually talk to you all day about this, but unfortunately we're running out of time. I want to keep it short for all the mamas out there that got to get back to their babies and their children.
Definitely.
So thank you so much. I'm so excited about the Quick Start Guide. I want to kick sugar myself. I have it pretty under control, but around the holidays, I always notice that I need to just reboot myself after the holidays end.
Same here, Michelle.
It's a great time. So we actually have a Facebook group where we're all in it for the summit. So if you guys go in there, you guys can join me on this challenge as well. So let's all do this together and let's kick sugar. Thank you so much, Kristen. It's been just an amazingly informative and inspiring day. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate the opportunity, and I look forward to interacting with the listeners.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Kristen. Have a wonderful day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that you received a lot of value out of this interview. I know that I did. I want you to open up to the possibility of making this new year the greatest opportunity that you have had so far to improve your life. This is about breaking out of paradigms. It's about learning the art of living. It is about honoring who you are as a woman as you discover who you are as a mother. It is about taking care of your body, mind, and spirit so that you can take better care of your family and be a shining example, a role model for your children so that they can grow up to be healthy, happy, and successful. I promise to continue to bring you educational, empowering, and inspiring content to help you achieve the body that you dream about and the life that you are meant to live. Stay tuned for more value-packed interviews, and be sure to check out all the resources on my website, metabolicmama.com. Until next time, wishing you a happy, healthy, hot day. Take care, mamas.